Hey guys, welcome back to the Grovesters. It is another day of packing. It's been busy this weekend. We had a sale on. We do sales like every other week, just on the weekend, just to kind of get stuff moving, some old stuff moving. Usually what I do is only a 10% sale. Sometimes I do a little higher on individual things, just depending on what time of year it is. So like it's the end of winter season, if I want to get rid of snow boots or something, I'll do like a 15% off sale or something like that. Or a whole bunch of old stock I'll throw up for 15 to 20% off. Those kind of sales. This one's just been a normal sale, 10% off. And then sometimes I'll send an additional 5% coupon to people, depending on what the item is, to keep everything moving for us. So little tidbit there for how we run our business. So let's get into what sold. So first up, this is a Cabbage Patch ornament. So this one was so cute. I love this. I don't know who, obviously this is going to date me, but I'm old enough that I had Cabbage Patches, like the original 1980s Cabbage Patches. This ornament is from 2005, so it's obviously like a throwback one to try and cater to the older generation, but it was new in box. It came from the estate sale that we didn't open the boxes, where we brought them home and just kind of went through them, and so we weren't 100% positive what was in the boxes. It was a pretty fun estate sale. I probably enjoyed that more than a lot of them, just grabbing boxes and bringing them home and opening them up. So this one, because it was in a whole box of other stuff, probably like $1 on it. It was really hard to estimate all the individual items, how much we paid for each one, because some boxes had more than others. But for this one, I'm going to estimate about $1, and it sold for $12.60 on the sale. So that's a pretty good flip. It's Christmas time. All of them are going pretty good right now, which is one of my favorites. All right, and next up, we have more Christmas ornaments. These ones are Raz Imports. These are just like these miniature little Santa ones. Raz Imports isn't like one of the big brands that I was familiar with. It's not like a Radco or, you know, Shiny Bright or something that most people would know. But they were just cute little ornaments. I picked them up for, I think, like $1 at an estate sale. They're not that old, not really vintagey, but they're just a good basic ornament, and they're glass and with the package. So I knew they would eventually sell, and they actually sold pretty good. So for like $1, they sold for $17.99 plus shipping, and they sold on that same sale with a 10% off. So this one is a Mary. So it's from a Sears Christmas vintage nativity set. So I used to pick up all of these little random nativity pieces that you would see at the thrift store. So when you walk through, a lot of times you don't see like a full set. You'll just see like a piece here and there, sometimes like 3 pieces. And so either they get broken by the thrift store and they only put out the ones that they have, or they get sorted separately and the other ones are still somewhere in the back, or the person donated it because they're missing pieces or pieces have been broken. Any which way, a lot of times you see just random ones. And I always felt bad that this poor little nativity set was sitting there by itself. So I pick them up and then I sell them for people to be able to replace theirs that get broken. So they find a little home. So this one, I believe I paid 75 cents and it sold for $10.80. It sat for over a year because I bought it towards the end of the Christmas season last year. They're not like a lucrative, somebody's going to pay you $20 for a replacement piece, because they would rather just buy a whole new nativity set for that. But they're fun, and I like that it's not just getting thrown away or going to a landfill, that somebody's getting to be able to get their usage out of it. Next up, we have this So I've already got it kind of pre-boxed in these tiny boxes. So if you have tiny things and you want to put them in the bankers boxes, I get these little tiny boxes off of Amazon for really cheap. And then I can pre-pack my little items in these boxes and put them so they stack nicely in there. So I don't have to worry about trying to find every little individual item, and then I label them. So anyways, this is from that Rudolph series that my sister sent me. It's a Hawthorne Village series with Rudolph, and this one is Coach Comet. These ones I'm doing for my sister, helping her out to sell them. So there's nothing in it for me. They said I don't know how much she paid originally, but she's just trying to get rid of them. She doesn't have space for them anymore. So this guy sold for $22.50 plus shipping. So not a bad deal for him. I need to make sure he packages well. And it is that time of year where Halloween's winding down. I don't pick up a lot of Thanksgiving usually because, to be honest, there's not a lot of Thanksgiving. There is kind of some fall stuff, but most people are starting to put up their Christmas stuff. So they're not, I don't know. Fall stuff is weird, like Thanksgiving. It will sell. It's just not something that I get unless I absolutely get a good price on it or something. So we did pick up this Give Thanks mug. It's a Ray Dunn one. I've talked about Ray Dunn before. It used to be a hot item where everybody wanted it, and so we were picking them up a lot, and then they really just kind of died off. It's like Stanley's. They're just not really worth picking up anymore. They just sit on the shelf for too long. I think this one's been around for probably close to a year. And I picked it up for $1.50, and it sold for $10.26 on the sale, which is still good. That's plenty of profit on it. We just don't pick them up anymore because they sit forever, and at this point they're selling, they used to sell for like $15 for cups and stuff, even used, but now they're selling for maybe $10. A lot of times my older stock I'm selling off for more like $8. So unless it's something that's a unique one, or at this point it's just old stock that I'm selling. So these ones are fun. These are like little types. They're vintage dollhouse family, and it's like the whole set. I think there might be a dog too, but I don't have the dog. But I got these at an estate sale. The people were getting rid of tons and tons of vintage toys, and they had them all in bags, and they were charging like $5 a bag for most of them. And this family was in there, plus a whole bunch of other toys. So I kind of sorted through what I wanted out of them. And this one, so I think there was other things in that bag, so we'll say around like $2 for the set of them, and they sold for $20 plus shipping. So pretty good little pickup for them. I like finding unique little things like this that sell pretty quickly. We have, so this is a vintage, Shackman is the brand. It's a set of 5 nesting houses. So if you can see, they're all like little houses in here. So it's like nesting dolls, but with houses. It's pretty cute. Kind of mid-century modern looking. It's from the 1960s. I picked that up for $2 at an estate sale. The estate sale had a lot of good things in the pictures, so we went to it. They had old Stanleys, and this is when Stanleys were actually doing good. I have a lot of Stanleys that are just sitting, collecting dust right now, like vintage ones, and new ones, just can't get them to go. Anyways, they had like tons of people, and everybody was fighting for the Stanleys and different things like that. So we were kind of looking around for like the things that people didn't notice might be good. And we picked up this little wood house, lensed it, realized it was actually something worth having. We paid $2 for it, and it sold for $25 plus shipping, and that was on an offer off of the sale. So that one was a great pickup. I'd do that again over Stanley's. So that's kind of one of our things that we do. When you go to the estate sales, a lot of people go for like the jewelry or something specific. And so they like rush in looking for the video games. And so if it's a big crowd and I know there's going to be like a certain item that everybody's going for, I kind of actually avoid that and go the opposite way of everybody and look for little items like this that I'll get a good profit off of. This one, it did sit for a minute. It probably sat for 6 months, but that's not bad. At least it wasn't like 2 years or something. So we have more Christmas ornaments. These ones came from that same estate sale where we just took all the boxes without really like looking to see what they were. And I got, I believe, 8 boxes of these. Same exact ornaments. They're new in box, never been used. They were all packaged up. So it's perfect. It's one of my favorite if they're new in box, because people like buying the new old stock. They want the vintage, but they like it when it's not been used as well. And I love multi-listings because I only have to take pictures once and list it once, and then it just keeps selling. So now that one is sold, the quantity is updated, and it's going to keep selling. So you get more money overall for a multi-listing because you're spending less time on it, because it's the same thing over and over, same pictures. So you just have to list it the one time to get 8 listings out of it, basically. So if you can get a hold of multiple items of the same thing, it's always great. If they are used, what I usually do when it's a used item and there's multiple of the same thing is I take pictures of the worst one in the lot, and then I just disclose, due to having multiple items, conditions will vary, but in overall like condition. So then whoever gets it is thinking it's going to be in the worst condition, and it will either be in that condition of the worst one, or it will be better than that. So it usually works out pretty well for that. And we have, this one's fun. We went to an estate sale, and it was like in a more expensive area here, and it was a great estate sale. The prices were really good there, and it was an estate sale company running it, so that usually surprises me. A lot of times the money, the amounts are really high if it's an estate sale company versus the family. But they had this really cool vintage Wilson referee jersey, and I couldn't find an exact one like it. I couldn't find an exact date. I didn't have a ton of information on it, so I priced it more in like the $40 range. I picked it up for $2. I priced it in the $40 range, but it just kept sitting and sitting and sitting, and so I've dropped it in its price, and I think I had it around $35. Somebody offered me $29, or sorry, I dropped it to $25. and somebody offered me $19.79. It's been sitting there. I haven't really seen a lot of offers, not a lot of interest in it, and we've had it for probably over a year. So I just took the offer to kind of get it moving. $2 into $20 or $19 is still a great deal. So I was fine with that one. Funny about that one, the neighbors all kind of came out and like asked us like what was happening at the house. And so we told them that there was an estate sale, and they were like, oh, okay. And then they explained that they didn't really like the guy. He'd kind of been a jerk. They explained that the guy had kind of been a jerk, so they didn't really like the guy. And they were like, oh, but he was kind of rich, so there's probably some good stuff in there. It's kind of funny. Never had that one happen before, but nosy neighbors are always a new one. And, all right, we are, I think I pulled the wrong. I pulled the wrong ornaments. Hold on. No, I pulled the wrong ornaments. There's two with the same number. There we go. Red and green. There we go. Right ornaments. All right, more Christmas ornaments. We are trying to hit that 5% top seller rate for Christmas ornaments again. So they are going and going. We're getting them moving. These ones I picked up estate sale, $1 for the box. They sold for $12.59 plus shipping on the sale. So again, a lot of these, unless you get into like Radco and Shiny Brights and some of the hallmarks, a lot of just the basic ornaments, the Krebs and the pyramids and that kind of stuff, they're only going to sell in the $13 to $15 range for your vintage ornaments. But when you're buying them for $1 and selling them for $13 or so, it's a pretty good deal overall. And with Christmas ornaments, my goal with them is more to sell them in quantities, like mass quantities. So because I sell so many of them, it's worth it. I'm making like at least $10 a box off of these. And when you sell like 4 a day, that's $40. So it's only worth it if you're selling a lot of them. Otherwise, if you're picking up Christmas ornaments sparingly, stick to the more expensive ones. But I do high inventory because with Christmas ornaments, because a lot of times when somebody buys one set from me, they'll buy multiple sets from me. I've had people before buy like 20 something sets all at once. A lot of times I have people buy like 2 or 3 at the same time. So those ones work out pretty well. Let's see. Next up, we have this Disney Steamboat Willie plushie. We picked this up at a thrift store for $1.50, and my mother-in-law actually carried it up to the front for my husband. He was shopping, and she volunteers at this particular thrift store, and so he gave her this and this big construction set that I'll show you in a minute, and asked her to carry him up front so he could keep shopping. So it worked out well for him that day. He used her as his personal assistant, I guess. And this boxed up. So one of my weaknesses right now is vintage toys. I don't know everything about them. I know stuff about the ones that obviously I played with, but some things I just don't, I've never seen them before. So this is a Transformer G1 from 1998. This is also a Transformer G1 from 1987. The prices were all over the place for both of these. So this one, I looked at the comps, I looked at what it is sold for. The problem is whether everything's complete, whether it's missing pieces. It's all over the place with these condition and whether you're free shipping, whether you're not free shipping. And I ended up pricing this one Joyride for $39.99, and it sold within 2 minutes of listing it. So then I was kind of concerned that I had listed it way too low because it sold so fast. But then in this same grouping, this bowl one, they were all listed a lot more, like consistently higher price. And so I just kind of picked a price. I believe I had listed it for $125. And then I took, or I sent a 10% off offer, and they took it for $118.75 plus shipping, and it sold probably within 5 minutes of listing. So then I don't really question my pricing because the expensive one sold as quickly as the cheaper one. So who knows with these? If you know anything about these toys and vintage toys, let me know if maybe I messed up on prices and they should have been a lot more, or if they were just really excited to find this one or something. But last item is this cool construction set. Big loader. It's Tommy Preschool. And it was pretty complete. I think it's missing the little balls and it's missing the instructions. But I put it together as much as I could for pictures, which took a lot of effort on my part to try and like look at the pictures and figure out where each piece went. And it sold pretty fast. It sold within a couple hours of listing, and it sold for $61.20 plus shipping. And I believe we bought it for like $7. And this one again was my mother-in-law carried this up front for my husband, acted like his personal assistant that day. So some fun stuff that's shipping out today. Let me know in the comments anything that you liked or anything that I may have priced wrong. See you guys next time.